All right, so this is the March, April? I don't really know. It's the next month. Let's just say that. This is the next month on our cheaper power rate that, I've been talking about. This is the second month. As you can see, the bill went down. You may also notice that the usage kind of went down. And I don't think it was so much that the usage was high. I just think it was more along the lines of we shifted it to. I mean, I meant to say, I don't think so much the usage is low. It's just that we shifted more toward the cheaper times. If we look, the current month we used 2,550 kilowatt hour. In April a year ago, 2,305. And then our average is 2,772. So we're definitely below average at this point. And I don't really think a whole lot changed. There was probably just more days that we didn't have to run the heat this month. I was still very much driving and going places. According to my Tesla app, I spent $70 this month charging my Cybertruck. So 70 of this was for the Cybertruck. I think the TOU Model Ys were like $7 each, so not a lot there. But yeah, that's our usage, or a look at our usage. Let's go over to the actual usage and break it down. So this one's going to scroll a little slowly here for the next minute or so. I blacked out my meter number, obviously. So our total usage, 2,549 kilowatt hour. On peak was down to 18. That's just, running things on batteries. Off peak is 908. That's kind of our normal usage. And then charging the cars is where the discount comes in, 1,622 kilowatt hour. Basic customer charge, that's just your connection charge, is $14. The total for the on peak was $4. Can't complain about that. 91 for off peak, and then 117 charging the cars. That doesn't really go in line with what my Tesla app said, but obviously there's other things running. So there's probably 100 and, not 100. There's probably about $27 ish there that was not charging cars. So I'm not real sure what that was, but that brings your total 232, and then you got your taxes there for the utility. Definitely way better than $3.99 though. I'll take this over $3.99 any day. So we'll look at the breakdown here day by day. I do want to mention that it is April 10th at midnight. So really, April 9th, they generated the bill. They have the usage and everything. I can't see the 9th because it's like 2 a.m. But way faster this month than last month. But anyway. I did the math, and the savings compared to our old rate this month was only about $50. We were looking at $2.99 plus tax for the old rate compared to what we got now. I guess technically you could say it was about a $70 savings because the price there on the last slide was like $230 something plus tax made it $249. And I'm not really going to do all the tax, but we did a few changes this month. This particular day, it doesn't say how much we used this day. Total. Hold on, we can do the week. The 8th, which would be this day, I didn't charge any vehicles. So our usage is only 47 kilowatt hour. I didn't charge any vehicles that day either, 49. And then we did that day at 104. So usage has been a lot lower since I've not been charging vehicles on this billing cycle. And that's kind of the hope to keep it that way for a little while, because we're testing some different things, and I'll make a video about that in the future. But anyway, as you can see, not a whole lot of usage, 2.3, 3.6. We jump up to our cheap hours, 0.27, 0.28, 0.28. and then 5.8. It never really spikes throughout the entire day here. So, um, but what's the new billing cycle? This one's 34, 404. But yeah, we can go back and just kind of pull Friday. I think I was charging. Yeah, I was charging 13, 13, 13. These are 3.5, 2.8, 2.6. So these are perfect. These are about where I want them to be. I can't really think of any other way to squeeze power out, or, to not be using power during those 3 hours. Next month in May, at May the 1st, we will transition over to 6, 7, 8 p.m. 6, 7, 9. Okay, so I think it's 6 to 9. So these 3 hours we won't be able to use power, and then we can use again at 9. And then this will go away. We can use during these hours just fine. So that starts May 1st, and that'll go through, I think, September 30th or something like that. I can't remember the exact dates, but I've got them in my calendar, and it's definitely going to let me know what we need to do. But that's the part that kind of scares me, because 6, 7, 8 p.m., we're doing stuff, we're cooking, we're doing whatever. And I mean, you look at our usage right now, 1.4, 3.3, 2.7, that's 6, 7.5, we'll say, kilowatt hour that we're going to have to not use on a daily basis during those hours. And this is just normal everyday usage. There's nothing crazy going on here. Now I do have those batteries that I can use for that. It'll help it a little, but it's still a concern. So we'll see how that goes. I'm obviously not going to change anything until April 30th. I think April 30th is the last day of this month, but might be the 31st. I think it's 30th. Yeah, it's the 30th. Anyway, I'll wait until noon to change it over to the 6 p.m. thing, and so then on April 30th we'll be doing the dip here and again here. Even though we won't have to on the 30th, it will technically start on March 1st. Nope, May 1st. But we're going to go ahead and switch the schedules so that we know we're ready. The 30th kind of gives us a day to test that schedule. I have considered, and it will depend on how hard this is, but I have considered buying the Anchor home power panel and installing it into my home and setting it up with my two Solix F3800s to run the whole house during those 3 hours on time of use. It can also backfeed the panel for any circuits that are using that, it's not backing up, to help lower that usage for 3 hours. If I have a really hard time keeping usage low and I notice a hit to my power bill, I'm probably going to end up doing that, because in the long run, it will eventually pay for itself to do that. So, but we'll see. I think we're going to try to just do what we currently do, run our schedules. We should be able to do a majority of what we already do based on the batteries. The only thing that we really can't do is like cook. And as long as we just set our schedule to cook around 5 or 5:30 and then have the food ready by 6, we'd be fine. The TV, the internet, everything else is on batteries. They're going to go off the grid regardless, and we can still use them during these hours. And so, what's 3 hours of watching TV going to be? And there may be, the benefit to me out of all this is that it doesn't get dark until like 8 or 9 p.m. now. So I could just not be home during these hours, which would make it even less usage because there's no one here trying to use. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll play that out and see how it goes. That will start the 1st of next month. I don't really see any need to do another monthly recap on this new time of use plan unless something major changes, because it's doing exactly what I expected it would do, and it's working. So I don't know if we're going to go the whole month of April not charging vehicles. Obviously, we're going to charge the Model Ys, but I'm trying not to charge the Cybertruck here. I don't know how long I'm going to keep that up. If I could potentially save $70 a month, it might be worth it to not charge it here, but it is a little more inconvenient about, having to go sit at a charger for 20, 30 minutes and, all that. So, not real sure. We'll cover that in a later video.